Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the show today. We have a special guest, Bill McCafferty. I've personally known him for 10 years now. And what's been great about it is that we've been really great friends. We've been there to support each other. And, we've been business partners. We've been through a lot. And he's done very well for himself, and I want to introduce you to Bill McCafferty, and he's going to give some insight and background about himself.
What's up, Joe? What's up, everybody? Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to it. So, like Joe said, my name is Bill McCafferty. I've known Joe for a little over 10 years. We've done a lot together, and my favorite thing about it is we've remained friends. We've been through a business partnership together, and a lot of times when people exit business partnerships, people think things went wrong, and that is why people split up. What happened back then was Joe saw somebody taking on a little too much, was a little too distressed, and realized it was better off us going our separate ways. Not only did we go our separate ways, but we continued to utilize each other, and we still do that today. So I'm a full-time note investor. I have two companies. I have People's Mortgage Relief 2, which is my asset management company. My asset management company manages other notes for other note investors. In that portfolio alone, I've managed over 1,000 mortgage notes, and that is between about 100 different note investors. So that particular company doesn't own anything, doesn't owe any money. It's a service commission-based asset management company. I get hired to manage their assets. What I do in there is I manage the attorneys, manage the borrower, manage the servicers, kind of manage the whole deal for us to get paid. Like I said, I don't own anything in that asset management company. The investors buy the asset. They just hire me to work it. They pay for the legal fees. They pay for the servicer. And that's kind of my bread and butter. That's where I get all my experience. It's where I get all my education. And it's what's allowed me to get to where I'm at today. So that's my one company. My other company is People's Debt Relief Solutions. People's Debt Relief Solutions, otherwise known as PDRS, is my own portfolio. And my own portfolio pretty much does what my client portfolio does. We buy non-performing second mortgage notes. That's my full concentration. We do deal with a little bit of non-performing first mortgages, but it's really the second mortgages that we deal with. So in my own portfolio, I do own a lot of mortgage notes. I do have some investors in there that I borrow money from. And that portfolio is all mine. It does the same thing. The goal is to get the non-performing loan to a re-performing loan or to get some type of payoff. They're my two companies. Outside of real estate, I'm a father of a 16 and 14-year-old. Been married 20 years. Love sports, love live music, and just enjoy life. That's where I'm at.
Dude, that's cool. That's awesome, man. I know typically when people see online, they see the success and where they're at today, but they don't realize all the hard work and effort that put into it. Can you give us a little background to where you were working and maybe what you were getting paid prior to this and how long ago that was?
Absolutely. I graduated college with a sociology criminal justice degree in 1996. Pretty much had a job lined up because my godfather worked at a school for court committed juvenile kids between the ages of 14 and 18. So I really didn't put a lot of effort into finding a job. It was kind of lined up for me. It was a decent job. The first year that I worked there, I did security at nighttime. Then I eventually took over a field maintenance athletic program. For 15 years at this school, I took care of athletic fields, ran the day-to-day maintenance on the fields, contracted a lot of work. And I ran a shop for the kids. Kids worked for me that went to that school that were, court committed. They may have been at the school for 12 to 18 months. They got the privilege to get a job on campus, and they worked with me. So, we painted fields, we set up fields, we took down the sporting events. As much as it was a school for court committed kids, it was kind of ran like a private school, kind of like a regular school. They participated in sports with regular kids. I did okay there. My wife was a school teacher, so we were doing okay. Benefits were good. I accepted average for a long time. Deep down inside, I knew I could do more. I knew life had a lot more. So about 10 years into this job, it really hit me hard that, in 2006, that, I needed to figure something out. If this was it, I was kind of lied to. I was cheated to. I had a good job. I had good security, but this was it wasn't going anywhere. And, it really hit me hard that I had to really do some soul searching and digging deep to find something different. So in 2006, I started going to local real estate events. And in 2007, I was at a Delaware County ring real estate event. And I always say, was I in the right place at the right time, or was it massive action that put me in that place? I think it was kind of both. But I met my mentors and some very successful note investors back in 2007 at a local real estate event. That's Partners for Payment Relief, Dave Van Horn, Bob Pollis, and John Sweeney. Three guys that I owe a lot to. I was very lucky to be at that event when John Sweeney came for the very first time. And I sat at the table with John, and John was telling me that, he came from where he lived. He's looking for people, some partners to invest in delinquent second mortgage notes. I had no idea what the guy was talking about. All I knew is that I was just starting to figure out a little bit about real estate.
All right. And we're waiting for a little technical difficulties, and Bill will be coming back in here. Here we go.
Are we good?
Keep rolling.
So, it was like 2006, between 2006 and 2010, that I started buying rentals, doing some rehabs, and I definitely got caught up in the market. I had a lot of debt leveraged. I had some good things going on, and I also had a lot of bad things going on. But also around that same time, I started buying some mortgage notes. So in 2008, I invested passively with PPR. I also bought a reperforming second mortgage note, and I also bought a non-performing second mortgage note. So at the same time, the market was crashing and I had a lot of crazy stuff going on. I loved what was going on with my investment with PPR passively. I had success with my first non-performing note. My reperforming note was still paying me. So let's fast forward to 2010. That's when I kind of met Joe and another investor that kind of liked what I was doing with these second mortgage notes and said, hey, if we bought these notes, would you want to manage them for us? And that is when my asset management company kind of started developing. We put a contract, we put an agreement together, and I started managing their assets. Well, over the first year, that is when Joe and the other investor saw the real deal of this business. They saw money coming back. Joe saw the opportunity. I started running with it a little more. After about 15 and a half years of working at this school, making between $20,000 and $40,000 a year, I took the leap. I left the school in 2011. People told me I was stupid. People told me I was crazy. My mom was scared to death. I told her I was leaving a secure job to go invest in delinquent second mortgage notes. Thereafter, I was in a partnership with one individual that lasted about a year. Then I went into partnership with Joe and another investor. That lasted for 2 years. And that was the springboard for everything. That's really what jump-started everything. When I left the partnership, Joe and the other investor put me in a good position. They left me with product. They left me with capital. They let me take all the asset management clients. I went back home and ran with that company. Joe went and did his thing. The other investor went and did their thing. We're all doing well. We're all successful. But I will tell you this, we all put our time in behind the scenes and off the camera. So things really started taking off for me in 2013. And that's when I realized how powerful this business was going to be and how powerful this business is. 2015, my wife retired, 17 years of teaching. I got her back home with the kids. I saw how stressful it was for her to be teaching with the administration, the parents, and the kids. And I needed all that energy back at my house. So here we are today. I've been a note investor for over 10 years, been doing it full time for, close to 10 years. And the business has been very well. I think I just rode out a whole cycle from the market crash to where we're at now and, where we're going to kind of go in the next year to 5 years.
And making those decisions, I guess, what comes to mind is having the right mindset. And, how have you changed your mindset over the last 10 years?
Nah, absolutely. I was definitely one of those guys. I do a lot of self-motivational and self-education videos now. And I remind myself all the time of who I used to be. I wasn't always a positive guy. I would feed on the negative. I would always find the 10% that was negative in something and I would run with it. I would never look at the 90% positive. I'm definitely complete opposite now. If something's 90% negative, I try to find the 10% positive in it. And it really is a mindset. I've learned to stomach a lot more. Early on in this business, you're dealing with delinquent mortgages. You're dealing with distressed homeowners. You're dealing with investors that have money invested. And you're dealing with attorneys that are not easy to deal with. And I used to stomach a lot, and I would take a lot of it personal. What I've learned over the 10 years is don't take anything personal. It's all about business. Do what's right. Be ethical. Communicate with your clients, communicate with your investors. Communication is key. Don't just hold it up. Don't hold it in. Don't let it bubble up. And like I said, you just don't take anything personal. I used to take a lot of things personal in this business. And like I said, for 15 years, I accepted average. And I, even still today, Joe and I always go back and forth. I'm a slow and steady guy. And sometimes I ask myself if I'm moving too slow and too steady. But I always say to myself, I'm still moving forward. I'm still relevant. I'm not waking up sick to my stomach because I owe a lot of money like I did when I first started this thing. So, slow and steady sometimes is good. So it's good that you're constantly checking in with yourself to make sure that you're moving forward the way that you want to move forward. And, I have a good friend of mine who's a mentor of mine always says, Bill, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not moving forward. And, before I'm at where I'm at today, if anytime I was uncomfortable, I would get all stressed out. I would take it personal and I would think that I was failing in business because I was uncomfortable. Fast forward to today, I've learned how to deal with the uncomfortableness and I fully understand what he means by that. You don't want to be waking up sick to your stomach, but that little bit of uncomfortableness and that fear is what motivates you and get you up every day to go for the grind and to keep this thing moving.
As I always joke around with you, the tortoise, as they say, the tortoise always wins the race, right?
Absolutely,
and
brother.
I always call you the tortoise, which is a good, it's a good comment, man. It's like, it's kind of like Warren Buffett, right? I mean, he's just slow and steady over 50, 60, 70 years. He makes moves and, does very well for himself. And I don't think, over leverages or over risks. If anything, that's why he's sitting on a cash pile, right? There's a lot of, over the last year or two, obviously with the whole 10X movement and everything, a lot of people are discussing 10X, 10X, 10X. While it's great in one aspect, in another aspect, sometimes 2 or 3X happiness, waking up, feeling good is just, is way more powerful spending time with family. So
all day long. I mean, the one thing that I'm very thankful for, I'm very blessed for, and I never take it for granted. And I remind myself every day, I'm in a business where a lot of people have come in and a lot of people have left. I'm in a business where it's very, very capital intensive. I do this business full time and I don't borrow a lot of capital. I have found a nice little niche with my asset management company And I've worked a lot of notes, even a lot more notes than the big companies have worked. There's a lot of people in this business that work in this business, like my asset management company, but they're not true investors in this business also. I never take that for granted. Very thankful for it. But I'm still relevant. I still surviving, and I'm not going anywhere. And when the COVID-19 hit, I didn't fear anything, and I still feel like I'm going to be okay moving forward.
I'm sure you'll do just well. So, kind of with the what's going on in the world right now, how has that impacted your business, and what do you see happening in the mortgage industry at the moment?
Everything's slowed down. There's not a lot of activity right now. Everything's kind of on a hold for the next 60 days. Foreclosure sales, sheriff sales, evictions, bankruptcy. There's even some states you're not even allowed to call homeowners and try to collect the debt. So everything is slowed down and even come to a whole stop. So to me, what has allowed me to do right now is to kind of just look at my whole dashboard, everywhere from my asset management company to my IRAs, to my portfolio. It's allowing me to fine tune everything. It's allowed me to do a couple little different things that I've been doing, adding value out on social media. We have an education. It's allowing me to pull back on a lot of different things and let a lot of this other stuff now come to this. So, I think for the next 3 to 6 months, everything is going to be real slow. It's what we talk about. You're going to find out how well your business model is right now, and you're going to find out how liquid you are. Because over the next 6 to 12 months, there's going to be people that go under. There's going to be businesses that go under. And there's going to be people that just leave this business. There's going to be investors that leave this business. There's going to be funds that leave this business. And, I believe in the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to see a lot of product and the pricing coming down. Delinquencies are going to go up. I don't know if we're back to where we were in 07 and 08, but just like every single thing that gets messy, there's tons of opportunity in it. And it's what I learned early on from my mentors, and a lot of us talk about it, is you need to learn how to solve the bank's problems, and you need to learn how to solve everybody's problems. And that's how you become a successful real estate investor. You do not become a successful real estate investor by wanting to make money or making it all about you. Once you learn how to start solving problems, that's when you'll be successful in real estate. So there's no crystal ball here, dude. And you know that. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next 6 to 24 months. I think this is all new territory for all of us. The gentleman that you have on tomorrow, that we're both very good friends with, Steve Lloyd, he did a video this morning for about a half hour on top of his roof in Siesta Key. and the guy, he banged it on the head, man. We're still waking up. We got to be positive. Nobody cares about your sob stories. We need to be together. We need to work together. And it's just bringing that positive attitude every day and wanting to be successful, communicating, and wanting to move forward. You can't watch the news. If you watch the news for 5 minutes, you're going to think the world's coming to an end. So, like I always say, mind your business, stay in your lane, and find the opportunity, because it's all there, and there's going to be so much opportunity in the next couple of years.
So what about new people that have been gaining interest into the investing in mortgage notes, and kind of what advice would you have for them in taking action today or preparing for 3 to 6 months out from now so they can be involved themselves?
Now, this is a great time right now to get education, network with people. This whole business is network and relationship based. Those two words you need to pound into your head. It's not about how much money you got. It's not about what you want to do. It's not about the banks. It's about your network, and it's about your relationships. And I can't express that enough. So you want to be concentrating on that. You want to be networking with people. You want to be connecting with people. Definitely need to educate yourself. What has happened happened in this business over the last 3 years are regulations and compliance. That's a whole factor that year period. You need to talk to people. If there are particular states that you want to go aggressive in, you need to find out what you need to do to be compliant and how to stay regulated. That's talking to attorneys. That's talking to seasoned note investors. That's talking to servicers. Right now is a great time to do self-improvement and to get your mindset so you can move forward. Because like we just talked about, you stomach a lot in this business. This is not an easy business, and you're going to deal with a lot of stuff that's not comfortable. So I think this is a great time to be building those processes and systems. And I can't express the network relationships enough.
I agree there. I mean, and not even just, in the note industry, I think that's pretty much across the board when you talk about network equals net worth, right? So there you go. Look, someone just put that in themselves. But no, it is definitely so true. Some of the greatest deals we've done over, the last 10 years have all been from, more off-market broker relationships that we've met through the conferences and everything we've gone to. So I think that's very, very key. And, also in building any business, I think there's always a lot to stomach no matter what you're doing. When you start hiring out, you have HR and you have a lot of different hurdles, or you have cash flow management. No matter what, when you're building a business, you're going to have a lot of, challenges and obstacles to deal with.
Nah, I mean, all day long, man, you banged it on the head. I mean, if you're not dealing with problems day in and day out, and when I mean problems, not problems that are going to bring you under or crush your business, but, that's what separates the people that are successful in business and not successful. Like, you need to be able to go head on into your problems and your issues and learn how to deal with them and execute them. You can't push stuff off. The more stuff you push off, you're not going to go far. You're going to go down. Especially in my business and especially in my asset management company, I manage over 100 delinquent seconds. And to be able to do that, you got to deal with problems all day, and you need to problem solve and execute quickly so you don't get bogged down in everything. And it's what you said. I mean, you can't take anything personal. In every business, you're going to deal with issues, and you need to just learn how to deal with it. You need to learn from your mistakes, and you need to keep pressing forward.
So imagining some risk moving forward with your note portfolio, what do you see in the marketplace when it comes to bankruptcy filings, and people's ability to repay any debts over the next year?
I think most good people that actually want to pay are going to continue to pay, and they're going to figure out a way to pay. It comes down to individuals' conscious. Nobody wants to be behind on their mortgages. People are going to find ways to pay. If they can't, they're going to reach out. Are we going to deal with more bankruptcy filings over the next few years? Absolutely. I think it's going to be very similar to what we dealt with between 2010 and 2014 with Chapter 13. Homeowners are going to file bankruptcy, maybe to try to get rid of their second mortgage. Maybe they're going to file bankruptcy just to be able to deal with their first mortgage, their second mortgage, and all their debt because they need some relief. Hey, man, if homeowners use bankruptcy the correct way, it's a great tool, both Chapter 7 and both Chapter 13. They're both great tools. Now, as investors, we fear them. I don't fear them because there's opportunity, and I'm educated about both of them. But bankruptcy is a great tool for a homeowner that needs some relief or some help. Bankruptcy is not a great tool when a homeowner is doing it because an attorney or a family member is telling them to do it for the wrong reasons. But for the right reasons, it's a good tool for a homeowner. But I think we're definitely going to deal with more bankruptcies over the next few years. Absolutely. And any good investor knows, any good note investor knows it's not a bad thing.
And what challenges have you had to deal with in the last few weeks regarding your own personal note portfolio, and how have you handled them?
My non-performers, just like everybody, I have a few of them. That's all come to a halt right now. One annoying thing is I had an Indiana file. I got bought out at sale back in December by a third party. that third party did not follow through. So I had to, I got some legal fees back from the sheriff that that third party spent. But I had to go back and reset the sale. And, now I'm probably not going to be able to get back to sale until July or August. So it's annoying. So, I only have a few non-performers, but if you multiply that, by 5 or 10 and you're a big note investor right now, it's you're on standstill right now. And then it comes down to how much capital you're carrying. Now, in my reperforming portfolio, I'm actually pretty excited about the amount of borrowers that have actually already paid in the month of April so far. I thought I'd see a little more, but I had the feeling that my borrowers that pay all the time consistently are going to be fine. It's going to be my borrowers that pay at the end of the month, or they miss a month or two, and then they come back and pay 2 or 3 months. I'm going to have to deal with them. I'm going to have to work with them. And you're going to have to be patient right now. In my own portfolio and every other investor out there, if you're thinking short term right now, like the next 90 to 180 days, you're being foolish. You need to think long term. The whole entire country lost jobs. We're all locked in our house. In my world, the first mortgage has to be paid. Their financing has to be good to go. The economy has to be good. They got to have a job in order to pay a little tiny second mortgage behind all that. And if I'm harassing them or I'm expecting them to throw money at me right now, I think we're just putting myself and the borrower in a bad position. So I just need to be patient, and that's what I'm doing. I'm working with these borrowers as they reach out. I've definitely had a few reach out. I think all my portfolio and my IRAs, it's not a big deal right now, right? Who cares when they pay? They still owe me the money, and I'm going to get it at some time. It's outside the IRA that, I'm being real focused on, very proactive with my investors, communicating with them what's going on, and just trying to stay on top of everything.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I also, want to throw a shout out to all the healthcare workers that are out there. They're dealing with a lot on the front line, and, we really appreciate them. And to my sister, who is on the front line out there working, thank you very much.
Yeah, man, it's putting real perspective in it right now, who the needed people are in society. We're in a society where we get all caught up in chasing the dollar, and, we think people that have high paying jobs are the successful people, the smart people. Well, you know what? This is, this whole thing has made society take a real big step back, and realize what's going on. It's slowing everything down. It's making you kind of review your whole world, see what you're thankful for, see what you truly need. So yeah, very big shout out, and big thank you to everyone that's out there on the front line dealing with this. It's crazy.
All right, we got a question. When you reach out to borrowers, do you use your real name?
Absolutely, man. This is a real business. You can't be acting like stuff. You can't be lying to people. One thing I have done my whole life in this business, and I still do it every day, is when I deal with borrowers and I deal with non-performing loans, if I'm ever in front of a judge and a judge is asking me what I did or how I went about something, do I feel good enough to tell the judge exactly what I did to keep myself out of hot water? So if I'm in front of a judge and I say, no, I lied to a homeowner and I told him a fake name, what do you think that judge and the courts are going to do to me?
Yeah.
So, just think about that in a big scale. Absolutely. I use my real name. We use the real company's name. I take a lot of pride in letting homeowners know everything that's going on, who I am, who the company is, what they owe, who the attorneys are, who the servicers are. That's why I do very well in my asset management company, because I'm a real person. I'm trustworthy, and everything that I tell these homeowners that I do and who I am is all the truth.
And to kind of add on to that, depending on, jurisdictions, obviously, and, to kind of, based on using your name, is that you have different outreach techniques that you use based on state licensing, and some states may not allow you to perform outreach and so forth. And at that point, you have a servicer manage that.
Absolutely. Early on in this business, we did a lot of phone calling. We did a lot of reaching out. Everybody will be very surprised. I don't really call homeowners anymore. I let the marketplace dictate everything. I utilize attorneys. I utilize servicers. The attorneys and the servicers will do their jobs, and the foreclosure process is what will bring that homeowner to me. And when that homeowner comes to me, it may be through the attorney, or it may be directly to me, but everybody knows that I handle the borrower and the loss mitigation process. Now, there's definitely some states where I'll handle everything, but it runs through the attorney or it runs through the servicer. Definitely right now, over the last 3 years with compliance and regulations, I even had a very good conversation with an investor the other day that's very deep into this business, and he was very surprised to hear that I don't really call homeowners anymore.
I remember. I just comment that I remember back 2011, 12. We would attempt, what was that? A shock package with all kinds of different, marketing materials in it, and we did door knocking. We tested a whole bunch of different things. And at the end of the day, we felt that one of the most effective things was just allowing the servicer and the lawyer, to perform their duties, until the borrower calls in and wants to work out a modification.
Nah, I agree. And I'm gonna go off of that. And then I see Melina's question, and I'm going to talk about it. So, Melina, I use Excel and Dropbox for my whole world. Everything that Bill McCafferty does, personal wise and business wise, is in one Dropbox folder. And when you go into that one folder, it opens up into my whole world. And every folder I have may be shared with somebody. Like my accountant has access to all my banking and all my servicing records and all my assets. Every borrower, every loan file that I deal with, I have a Dropbox folder, and I utilize a 3-tier Excel spreadsheet for each borrower. That's kind of my dashboard. A lot of people use different stuff like Podio and all kinds of different devices. I'm old school. I use Excel and I use folder systems. And I track everything. I mean, everything that I do, I track. And that is definitely what I do. And even like my whole portfolio, both personal, both business, everything that I'm involved in, I have like 8 or 9 main spreadsheets that are probably 6 to 10 sheets deep of my whole world, and I track everything. I spend a lot of time on Excel, and when I talk about systems and processes, a lot of my stuff is Excel.
Does the wife get a shared folder with you, or what?
She knows where everything is.
I'll piggyback off of that. We use Salesforce for all of our loan and REO management over the years. We started building tried to start building a database back in the day. That was back when we were in the office, right? 13, back in 2012, 13.
Yep.
And it kind of was just a shit show. We just couldn't figure out what to do. We weren't tech savvy. Bring someone in. It felt like it was going to take forever. Finally, after going through a few different things, we had an intern TJ there, and he put us on to Salesforce. It was a little bit more of a drag and drop builder at that time. So we went with that, and that's been built out over the years, and that manages all the loan and REO data, and can also, document custodian can send the information straight to the system.
Nah, there's a lot of awesome stuff out there. I'm sometimes, as Joe knows, I'm a little bit of a dinosaur. Sometimes it takes me to get up to date with stuff. It takes me, like he says, I'm a turtle. Sometimes it takes me a while to get out of my shell. But one piece of advice I can give to a lot of newer investors or people really trying to ramp up, a lot of us get too caught up on trying to perfect the back office before we move forward. And believe me, it's all about the back office, and your business will only go as far as your back office. But a lot of this stuff can be dealt with simple things like I just told you where my whole world is. I've managed over 1,000 notes out of Dropbox and Excel. And, Dropbox cost me $100 a year and Excel cost me $100 a year. So, $200 for that whole back office.
Yeah, I don't think that's the back office is ever the problem with anybody, right? It's just a matter of getting some deals done. I mean, that's always the hardest part, finding the right deals that pencil at the right price. Like you commented, you could run a lot off of spreadsheets and so forth, right? You need a lot of loans and more buying and selling that makes more sense for software.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. The more you're buying and selling loans, the better your software needs to be. Absolutely. Could I manage 1,000 reperforming loans in Dropbox and Excel? Probably not. I could definitely manage 1,000 non-performing loans because I keep track of the accounting on my spreadsheets, but I'm pulling the accounting from the servicers that we use. And, as some servicers got some pretty awesome software.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, anything else when it comes to investing in notes that you feel is important for the audience today?
I mean, it's what I said, right now it's a little weird because, a lot of the conferences have been canceled. But, to go along in your relationships, once we're able to get back into moving around, I can't express it enough, going to, note events, education events, Bigger Pockets is a pretty cool real estate blog. There's a lot of cool Facebook groups. I have an education program. There's a bunch of them out there. I can't express that enough. People get so caught up not wanting to spend money on education when, one note deal will make you be able to buy 10 education courses. So, I don't get it. I still continue educating myself. I got a weekend event I'm going to this summer. Anybody that's successful spends money on education. They spend money to put themselves around other educated people. So get out of your shell and, start thinking about that. Read books, watch podcasts. I have a YouTube channel right now with a lot of cool stuff on it. Start doing that type of stuff and building those relationships and building that network because the opportunity is out there. So, to new people, what I see a lot of new people doing wrong is it's about them. Like people will inbox me and say, where do you get notes from? like I know you a little bit, but let's build a little bit of a relationship and let me share with you what I do and how I do it. And you go execute your own plan.
All right, we're just waiting for him to come back on.
Right now that's not happening.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's very interesting how quick people are to reach out and ask for everything without providing any value first, right?
It's amazing.
So what since the lockdown a month ago or so, what moves have you been making, even personally on the home front, even when it comes to the family, when it comes to finances, what have you done differently?
Going in all directions. I walk daily. So I added more to that. I'm actually lifting weights right now. The family and I are just having some fun. We're doing a 30-day buns abs challenge. It's like squats and some different exercises, just trying to, keep everybody in check, keep people communicating. Financing. I'm staying liquid right now. I'm not a big fund that has a lot of capital to deploy, and I don't have a lot of investors to pay. So I have plenty of capital, and I'm just choosing because you keep hearing me say you need to make sure you're liquid for the next 6 to 12 months, and I'm going to do that because I think the opportunity that's here now will be here in 6 months, 12 months, and 18 months. I'm going in all directions with the government loans, the payment protection program, the disaster loans. I have an S corp that pays me a W-2 salary, so I'm just going in all directions right now. One thing I will ask myself over the next 6 to 12 months is, should I have sold some of my assets before what just happened just to get a little more liquid? I don't know the answer to that, but that's the one thing that I'll be playing over the next 6 to 12 months with my brain. I have 2 mortgages, my own and a rental property, and I can pay them. So I'm not looking for relief there. I don't need a forbearance because I see the big picture. If everybody stops paying on their mortgage, the market's going to crash, not only with opportunity, but it's not going to be great for my primary residence. The values are going to drop. So you got to look at the big picture no matter what you're doing. I have a 16 and 14-year-old. I'm trying to keep them sane. 14-year-old had her 8th grade dance canceled, her lacrosse season canceled. It's not easy. She doesn't have any friends around the neighborhood. So she's going a little nuts right now. The son, he's a junior. He's getting ready to go into his senior year for his senior year of football. Kid's just played 11 years of football to get ready for his senior year. He plays for a top team in the state, and it's a very difficult program to start for. So last year he didn't start, but he played a lot, and it was a big learning piece for him. And he's putting the time in right now to play his senior year in football, and who knows if that's going to happen. So it's crazy out there. So you're trying to just stay grounded, look at the big picture, and just really, really focus in on what you just said, your financing, your business, and your family, and just do what you can do to control, everything in your picture right now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like to say, it's not always as important. It's not important to always be very liquid, right? I think it's always more important to have a better network, right? Because if you got a better network, you could always call on a handful of friends that could get you a lot of capital versus you sometimes, stashing your own money. So I'm sure also with the people that that if any opportunities come about, you could reach out to the right people and always partner to get deals done too, right?
Oh, all day long. So let me make sure I'm clear on that. One of the main reasons I'm staying liquid is to make sure I'm right there when the opportunity comes. I'm always I have a threshold of capital that I like to have. And once I get over that, I like to deploy it. I'm all about cash flowing assets and multiple streams of income. I always want more cash flowing assets. That's my biggest thing in life. As soon as I get enough money, I want to deploy it and buy a reperforming second, maybe some non-performing seconds. But even over the last 3 years, I've bought a lot more reperforming loans than non-performing loans. So I'm just sitting here not only to be able to protect my family and everything, but I'm also making sure I'm right there for the opportunity that's going to come my way in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, that's good. We see that from Marco there.
Yes, it is. Absolutely, man. Great.
I can't agree more than that. I mean, I try to minimize, social media posting. I mean, like everybody's out there posting so many opinions and speculations and all kinds of stuff. And I think at the end of the day, people just need to just calm down a little, be patient. If it's a month or 3 months, we're going to look back, it's going to be such a little blip of time that we were locked down for that, just, hang out with your family, work on your business, whatever it may be, take the time to, address those things now.
Nah, I mean, I'm like you, Joe, and I have a lot of friends that are like us. As much as we work in our office, we can't sit still. We got to go. We got to go. We got to go. It's so what this has done is really made me slow down. I mean, I've been at my desk the last month more than I've ever been. I mean, usually I get up, I got to go get my coffee. I got to go walk, and it takes me a while to settle in. Now I'm up, I have my coffee right at my desk, and I'm kind of settled in and moving forward. And, like you said, I mean, I'm seeing my family all day. It's weird, but it's great.
There's always good things come out of this, right? I mean, It's like you either love the people that you're living with or you don't, right?
Nah, I hear you, man. We're a very close family, and we're only getting closer right now.
I mean, one of the topics I don't think we hit on that I just thought of was, people taking control more of their finances and investments, right? I think that's one of the things in society that people keep trying to push a little bit more, just so that people become more educated. They're more familiar with what they're doing. They can invest for themselves, maybe beat the returns of the average stock market. So what are some ways that people are using note investing through their IRA accounts?
Absolutely. So, one thing that I'm really, I take a lot of pride in is when I left my job in 2011, I rolled my 401k and I rolled my pension into a self-directed individual retirement account, an SDIRA. Okay, so I transferred that money over to a third party, and I control that account. That account buys alternative investments. So I make all my decisions. It's at a company. I use Camaplan. Camaplan oversees everything to make sure I'm abiding by all the rules and I'm doing everything correctly. But I can do what I want into that account. So I buy a lot of reperforming second mortgage notes in that IRA. So when my wife retired in 2015, we did the same thing. We took her 403B, we took her pension, and we rolled it into a self-directed individual retirement account at Camaplan. So right now, I control my whole dashboard. Both of my IRAs buy reperforming loans. So even if some of the borrowers aren't paying right now, my accounts aren't dropping in value. I'm a little bit of a standstill, but at least I know what I'm doing and I can control my investments. It's not with a company that I have no idea what I'm doing. It's not in the stock market. And, you had Alberto on yesterday. Alberto's a very smart guy. He's very diverse with his investments. As much as I know my niche, I don't want to veer too much off of it because I look at it a little differently. As much as I'm kind of all in the same investment strategy, I am diverse. I have one mortgage on one property with one borrower, and I have tons of them throughout the country. So, we'll find out if COVID-19, crushes my IRAs, but, a lot has to happen for all those borrowers to stop paying and for me to crumble. So yes, do I do some other things? Absolutely. But my full concentration in my dashboard are these alternative investments. So in my self-directed IRA, I buy reperforming loans. I also buy and I also sell what are called partials. I own a loan, homeowners paying me. I find an investor that wants to buy a stream of my payments. I can sell him, 50 payments off of an asset that I own. He gets the next 50 payments. I get a chunk of capital. I can sit on it or I can go buy another asset. I also buy partials. So I have a health savings account. And my health savings account just started a few years ago. I buy small partials in there. And the reason I do that is because I want to deploy 5, 6, 7 grand and get it back in 24 months plus my return. So, in a health savings account, just like an IRA, any investment that I do that's an alternative investment, the income comes back into the IRA or the health savings account. And I build that up. Once I get more capital, I can deploy it. I can choose to invest in an investment fund. If I was into property stuff, I could lend to people that are looking to rehab properties. The bottom line is I control my own IRA. I just watched America go crazy because their 401ks and their 403bs dropped in value. I haven't worried about that.
I know not much not much has changed on our front too when it comes to the last 30 or 60 days, which I guess is a blessing. You know what I mean? But then I know both of us went through the 2000s shenanigans, and I think learned lessons from that, which ultimately put us in a better position today.
Absolutely. And you and I just talked about this either yesterday or the day before that there's a lot of people waking up right now that are scared. They're scared that they owe too much money. They're scared that their business is going to crumble. They're scared that they're just going to go under. I can honestly say, besides really knowing what's going to happen and being a little mad that some of my concerts are going to be canceled this summer, like I'm not waking up like saying my business is going under or Bill McCaffrey's going under or I can't pay my debt. Like I'm not waking up scared about that stuff. I'm worried about my kids and their stuff getting canceled. I'm worried about some personal stuff being canceled, but I'm not waking up sick to my stomach because I owe, lots of money or my businesses are going to go under. And
for those that are also listening, they can just Google self-directed IRA and always obviously get a whole page of information. And is there any custodian that you use or want to give a shout out to?
Like I said, I use Camaplan. Camaplan is in Ambler, PA. You know, a lot of us use those guys. It's Carl and Ryan Fisher. You know, I know a lot of us use them because we know them. It makes us feel good. It's near us. You know, another one a lot of people use down in Houston, Texas is Quest IRA. I got a few things going on down there that Crazy Joe got me involved in. But it's all good. You know, they're the two that I like. You know, I know there's some other ones out there, but they're the two that I'm going to say that I utilize and that I know about.
Cool. That's awesome. And, you know, I think there's always a backbone to every entrepreneur and, you know, helps drive success, especially on the home front. Can you kind of go into, you know, your partner and, you know, how great she is?
All day long. So somebody inboxed me yesterday on Facebook because I always use the term LFDA, which is laser focused daily activity. And he said to me, how do I get my LFDA to be where it needs to be every day? And I said, I don't know. I said, everybody's different. But if you ask me, it's about my why. And my why is my wife and my 2 kids. If I feel sorry for myself, I just think about those 3 people and it's what gets me moving. You know, I've been married for 20 years. I'm not an easy person to deal with. I have been very challenging. But, you know, if you're with somebody for 20 years, you know, you're doing something right. You know, my wife's awesome. She's definitely the backbone of me. You know, I always talk about trying to think what book it is. I think it's Napoleon Hill, one of his books. He talks about the blending of the minds, right? So he talks about the more you're married to somebody, once you get over that 10-year mark, your minds actually start blending. So, you know, maybe I'm at where I'm at today because, you know, I was married for 10 years and it took me 10 years to actually start going in the direction that I needed to go in. But the blending of the minds, you know, she's a rock. She supports me. She's always there for me. If I need to go to a real estate event or I'm doing something, the support is there. I mean, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. You know, she's just awesome.
Yeah, I think that's really good to hear. That's really good to hear. And you know, it doesn't, and when it comes to a great partner, it doesn't always have to just be the spouse, right? I mean, you know, going back to our partnership, right? It was, you know, I think everything that you move forward with, you need to have the right partner, whether, you know, it's on the home front or in business, and picking the right partner helps you go in the direction that you're looking to go.
Nah, I mean, you know, a lot of people have good business partners. You know, people have accountability partners. You know, I have friends and business associates that I utilize, and you know, it's the people that keep you pushing forward, that keep you motivated. I mean, there's no doubt about it, man.
Brandon's just commented in. He's only 3 years into the marriage game. So they're still learning out certain things probably about each other that they didn't really know before they got married.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Good luck. Yep, no doubt, man. You gotta, you know, once you get over that year 10, you know, something's going right. It's real. And you know, I mean, it's not easy. I mean, being married and being in a relationship for 20 years, I mean, you know, things aren't always perfect. We don't always agree. You know, I'm not an easy person. She's not an easy person, but you know, you make it work. You sacrifice a lot. And, you know, I call it our team. You know, we're a team. You know, the kids kind of bust her chops a little bit because she doesn't work right now, but you know, she worked for 17 years. When I left the job in 2011, she's the one that kept the benefits so I could go out and, you know, try to figure this thing out. You know, even when we did our partnership for 2 years, I mean, you know the deal. I left Coatesville, went to Willow Grove, was gone all day. She was working, teaching, coming back, dealing with the kids. You know, there's a lot of sacrifice that you make for each other to, you know, to kind of get to where you need to go and you want to go.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, as we're wrapping it up, what do you see as the best and most positive things that are going to come out of this lockdown for yourself?
Nah, I mean, I'm definitely going to be a healthier guy. You know, I've always been a very thankful and blessed guy. I don't take much for granted, but it's putting everything into perspective. It's going to slow society down. You know, there's going to be a lot more opportunity out there for myself and for a lot of different investors. You know, I don't know. I don't think there's any magic answer. I'm just still doing what I normally do, minding my business, staying in my lane, working on myself, working on my family. And, you know, I think I'm going to be more fine-tuned. You know, I've been really fine-tuning everything over the last month, and I continually do so.
Part of me is kind of enjoying it. I almost feel like there should be some kind of like this 2 to 4 week holiday every 10 years at the turn of the decade where, you know, people are on some kind of lockdown with their own family, spending time, and it's almost like a holiday. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, I hear you. Not to get deep on the COVID-19 thing. I personally think until the end of 2021 that we're going to be doing what's called 2 months out in the society and then a month of being told to stay in, going back out for 2 months and then being told to go back in for a month.
Yeah,
So
I think. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's going to be interesting.
I mean, it just fast forwards you know, getting people to work remotely, getting more comfortable with ordering groceries online and all those different services that are obviously doing very well right now.
Nah, I mean, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
All right, and I know you know we've put Bill's contact information on the bottom, and we'll show it again here. If you guys want to reach out to Bill directly, his contact info is below. He also works with a select few people and coaching them when it comes to note investing. And the best way to do is reach out to him directly, and he can speak to you if you have any interest there. And if you're a accredited investor or on your way to being one, you know, please feel free to contact us to get on the show. We appreciate having you on. And we thank you for everybody coming out today. And Bill, you know, I appreciate always having you on, brother. You're like family.
Nah, man, appreciate it. Back at you, brother. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Bye.
See ya.